conditions bullish in this bull market. We're seeing S&P futures up about 0.5% this morning. We're majority bullish at 14 on the daily, as well as majority bullish on the 1 hour time frame. We've still got this overhead supply block sitting right around between this 6120, 6180 range on S&P 500. Let's jump over to SPX, take a look at that there. Again, this is going to be a little bit slightly different perspective based on future activity this morning, but it's going to give us a similar perspective here. We are running into that resistance. We'll see if S&P can push through that level. That's going to be an interesting range, that one at 6150 range. We can push through that. We may get a little acceleration to the upside. Here's where we're seeing breadth still right around that halfway mark, that 50% range, which means that we've got 50% of stocks in the S&P 500 trading above their 50-day moving average. So essentially they're trending up. So you've got about half and half. You've got a majority bullish trend now on the daily trend condition indicator, which is sitting right at that 8 and 6 range. So a little bit bullish or trending that way as we have been working our way off of these recent lows in the last few weeks. We've got volatility index, which is majority bearish on the daily time frame, as well as the 1 hour time frame. Getting a little bit of a bullish spike right here this morning. We'll see what that turns into, but still working towards a bullish perspective for equities. SHY, the short end of the yield curve, seeing that majority bearish on the daily as well as the 1 hour time frame. That's the short end of the yield curve. Bond prices moving lower. And as bonds are moving lower, interest rates are moving higher. So this is one of the things we want to see, is we want to see bond prices kind of stabilize and start to move higher, so that we could see this 2-year treasury start to drop, start to move lower. But that's kind of has a bullish tone to it still on interest rates on the short end of the yield curve. The longer end of the yield curve, the 10-year, we're sitting at 449. So we've got 449 on the 10-year, 427 on the 2-year. So that's our yield curve. That's our spread right here is 0.2. Still a positive yield curve. We're not inverted, but we're pretty flat. A flat yield curve, meaning that these two are the same. That's still not ideal rate conditions for economic growth. We're still managing, Fed's still managing that inflation number, still coming in. It's still a factor, at least still a news item to be aware of when you hear a lot of those discussion points about inflation and CPI and unemployment and everything. Some of those economic data points are important in understanding what the Fed is doing with these bond prices. Obviously, you guys know that. Let's jump over here to 13 and 3 on the Dow, majority bullish, getting a little bit more majority bearish here on the 1 hour time frame for Dow. Also saw a little bit of weakness here on the triple Qs, majority bullish at 13, upper end of this trend. Just that tight consolidation really across all markets right now here for the triple Qs. Same thing for S&P 500. Let's look at the Russell 2000. Russell, we're seeing majority bearish on the 1 hour and really a neutral trend right here on the daily chart. So it's just some slight weakness at the upper end of the range here on the Dow, triple Qs as well. S&P 500, it's got this big supply area that it's got to push through. We're at the upper end of the range. We'll see what the market gives us here in the next few days during this week. USO oil prices continue to pull back. We'll see if it holds up around that 50% retracement area, and not seeing real demand, at least as of this current price pattern. GLD, opposite, we're seeing some nice bullish pattern here. We're at the upper end of the trend. We're getting an expanded trend now on the 1 hour time frame, where you've got this versus compressed. When you have this compressed trend, it typically will lead into an expanded trend, either up or down. When you have an expanded trend, it'll typically lead to a compressed trend. So when we're looking at where we at in the trend, we're utilizing the trend indicator to help us identify, are we early in the trend? Is it compressing and we're breaking out of that trend? Or are we later in the trend and getting ready to consolidate that a little bit? That would be the analysis here on gold for the 1 hour time frame, as well or the daily time frame, as well as the 1 hour time frame. Still very strong bullish market, but could use a bit of a pullback right here. Same with silver. Silver is working through that. You can see now majority bullish still, but it's starting to curl back in, just getting a retracement after a pretty nice run up. We've got the consolidation here on silver as well, starting to expand that trend out. A couple trade ideas for you to consider today. We've got one in nuclear, which is LEU. We're seeing those stocks still showing some interest, had a nice earnings surprise here also, and pushing towards some breakout zones around that 120 range on LEU. The other one to consider this morning is on KMDA. This is a little bit more aggressive. The volume on that was fairly light, 20, 30, 40,000 shares until you hit the big spike. It's in the biotech space as well, so you're going to see some volatility, but it's a nice looking pattern at the location we would want to see it, and massive volume coming in there as well on that name for you to consider today. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.